whistle and play coal miner for me, will you?
That's funny.
Now, Phil Hendrie, 1-800-449-8686.
All right, Mr. Green, tell me what you did.
All I did, Mr. Hendrie, was I took the little girl by the hand, I led her across the street.
Yeah, but she was screaming, right?
Because kids are afraid of dogs. I told her I've got puppies in the van, and I took her across the street. I put her in the van to see the puppies, and for that, I was almost beaten to death. I can tell you what the doctor told me. I had 2 cracked ribs, multiple bruising to my face, and part of my scalp was lacerated because I took this girl up on the freeway to show her the puppies that I had. Now, these are Scottish Terrier puppies. And
why were you driving with this child who was already screaming, didn't want to get in your van? Why were you up on the freeway?
I told her that the puppies are cute when they stick their head out the window and feel the air. If you've ever owned dogs, one of the more endearing things about a dog is that they love to put their faces out in the wind. It's something that dogs enjoy. You put them up on the freeway, it's a lot of fun to see the dogs put their faces out. And
so this girl you took by the hand, put in your van, took up onto the freeway, and then you brought her back?
Then I brought her back, yes. And I'm asking you, why is it then I'm deserving of a beating?
Because you took a girl from a park, a 5-year-old girl that you say was screaming.
Yeah, she was screaming, but I didn't know that she was screaming necessarily because she didn't want to go with me. I know that kids are afraid of dogs. And I told her, do you want to see a puppy? And she said yes. So that was my first indication that yes, she did. And then when I took her by the hand, she started to scream, and I said, I know you're probably afraid of the dogs. All right? Now, when I pulled back up with this child, who I had fully intended on taking back to the park, then I am assaulted by 3 men, 3 cracked ribs, severe laceration. I've got a lacerated kidney as a result of this, because this kid decides to change her mind, and now she's screaming.
Well, you said you thought she was screaming because she was afraid of dogs.
Well, as it turns out, the kid wouldn't stop screaming, and everybody took that to mean that she was afraid. I asked her, do you want to see puppies? And she said yes. I took her by the hand, and then she started to scream. And I knew that what was really bothering her was the fear of the dogs. But she wouldn't stop the screaming. That's why I put the sock in her mouth, and that's why I taped the sock in.
All right, well, you got to understand something, Mr. Green. Take a child from a park, put the child in a van, stick a sock in her mouth, and tape it. That looks like kidnapping.
Well, it may look like kidnapping, but let me tell you what I have suffered from, and I think what a lot of people are suffering from, and that is brutality at the hands of these vigilantes who all think that they want to be the ones who are going to find Elizabeth Smart, or they all think they're going to be the ones who are going to clean up the country from terrorists. They're these neighborhood vigilantes. They go out and they get their shotguns and their pieces of wood, and all I wanted to do was show some kids some puppies that I had in the back of the van.
Well, you pulled up to a playground. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Why did you tell me you were looking around to make sure there were no adults around?
Because, and again, you're twisting my words.
No, I'm not twisting your words. In the facts you sent to my producer, you admit to the fact you looked around to make sure there were no adults around.
Because, as I said to your producer, and I'm sorry that she didn't communicate this to you, I wanted it to be a surprise for the adults if the kids wanted the puppies. Okay?
So you didn't want any adult to know that you were showing puppies to these children in the playground because you wanted it to be a surprise?
Yes. And I said that to your producer, and again, I am sorry to see that she did not elect to share that with you. But I will tell you, I've dealt with the media now for the last 24 hours on this, and there isn't one person, not one, who understands that I am a victim of circumstance and that I never intended to harm that child at all.
1-800-449-8686 is our number. Robert Green, who was, and you were eventually arrested.
I was arrested by the police, by the Linwood police. I was taken into custody. I was treated at the scene, but taken into custody. I told them my story. I have been released on bail. This is a nightmare for my family, my wife, and friends of mine, even given the fact that all I did was want to show a girl some puppies that I had in the back of a van
Well, these people believed you to be a pervert.
Well, I didn't look like a pervert, Mr. Hendrie. And
What makes you think you didn't look like a pervert?
you can ask the police. When I was arrested, I was wearing a three-piece suit. I was wearing wingtips. My hair was combed. I'm clean cut. I am completely above reproach in my behavior with these children.
Let's go back. You pull up in a van.
In a Windstar van.
You pull up in a van. You get out. You've got puppies in the back?
I had the puppies at my home. The idea...
So you don't even have the dogs in the back?
I had one or two of them, but most of them were at my home.
You had 2 puppies in the back. The rest were at your home. You were going to take the children to your home.
Yes, sir. So that makes me a pervert now. Is that correct?
I want to be very clear. You pulled up in your van. You got out wearing a 3-piece suit and wingtips, and you went over to some kids at a playground, and you said, do you want to see some puppies?
And they answered yes. And I want that to be in the record, and I want that to be clear. They said yes, they did.
All right. And then you grabbed her by the hand?
I said, come on, don't be scared, because I know kids are afraid of puppies. I took the girl across the street.
By the way, her name is not being released by the police because she was returned unharmed.
You better believe she was returned unharmed. And what has happened to this society that's a crime to see a puppy lick a child's face?
All right, so you took the child across the street to your van. You put her in the van. You said, would you like to see how the dogs like to stick their head out the window? And you took off in the van.
Well, when you say took off...
Well, you drove away in the van.
Yes. And then I brought her back.
After you taped a sock into her mouth.
She was screaming, and it was unbelievable because I had done nothing wrong. She was going to attract attention. I had done nothing wrong.
You still maintain you did nothing wrong by taking this child against her will?
It was not against her will because she did say she wanted to see the puppies.
1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686. Mr. Robert Green, who's got himself some problem with the police. You pulled up with dogs. You went across the street. You put the kid in the van. She said she wanted to see the puppies. You took her into the van, and you've been charged with kidnapping. You've also been charged with a aggravated assault charge by putting that sock in her mouth.
That to me is an outrage, Mr. Hendrie. I am a businessman. I have never harmed anyone in my life.
You stuck a sock in this kid's mouth, taped her shut, and now you're telling me that you didn't have all the puppies. Most of them were at your house.
Yes, because the dogs get car sick. Do I look like a pervert? I sent over my photograph.
You're wearing a 3-piece suit with wingtips.
Yes, sir.
Were you going to take that kid to your house?
That's where the dogs were. That's where the dogs were.
You have to see it the way a lot of parents are going to see this, Mr. Green. You got a child in a van against her will.
No, she was not. It was not against her will. She said she wanted to see the puppies.
Did you tell her they were at your house?
She knew they were in the van. And then I said, have you ever seen them, the way they look when their head stuck out the window? And she said no. And I said, well, I'll show you. And that's when I took off. So she tacitly approved of me driving away and getting onto the freeway.
You call that tacit approval when she says, no, I haven't?
Yes, I do, sir. All right. My point, Mr. Hendrie, again, is that there are too many of these vigilantes who think they're going to run around out there in public and they're going to be the big bad daddies who are going to beat up on a guy like me simply trying to get some puppies to a kid.
Were you going to give them away?
Yeah, I was going to give them away.
1-800-449-8686. Here is Angela on the Phil Hendrie Show. Angela, go ahead.
Hi.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Green.
Yes.
Why would you take 2 of the puppies to a playground to show children?
Right.
Leave them in the car. Well, you didn't want to take all of them for some reason.
Why
would you leave them in the van?
The animals get car sick.
Okay. Why did you take 2 then?
Oh, well, I took 2 of the animals. I took 2 of the stronger ones. One's name is Tuglug, and the other one's name is Muffy. They're 2 strong animals. The other puppies seem to get car sick.
You know what? I don't even care what their names are. That's totally irrelevant.
Well, I'm answering your question, and you're getting upset because I'm answering your questions good.
I'm sorry. You're right. Thank you for answering my question. However, as a logical person...
And Muffy's the pick of the litter, and that's why I brought her out so the kids could see that one. They're sheepdogs.
Splendid. How could you, as a logical person, think that parents should not and would not be upset that you would pull up in front of a playground in a van, dressed meticulously or not, grab a little girl by the hand because you are saying she was afraid of the puppies.
Whoa. What do you mean grab?
No. Let me make... Okay, holding her hand and walking her across the street. She was a little girl. She does not know someone's going to hurt her. At that age, everyone's good.
Wait a minute,
you don't know that there are bad people.
The news has been all over the place about the Elizabeth Smart girl and all of those poor kids. So the kid's been seeing the news. She knows what she's doing.
No, at 5 years old, she does not know what she's doing.
How does she know?
How could you possibly believe that a little girl is not going to look up to an adult who looks like a very smart, intelligent, well-dressed man? Why would she be afraid?
It's been all over the news.
Why would she think that you... It's fine. Parents shield their children from the harsh realities of the world we live in.
So these vigilantes...
Excuse me, may I finish? And then you can reply all you want, and I will not interrupt you.
All right, but I'm the guy with 2 cracked ribs and a lacerated kidney. Thank you very much.
If I would have found you, you would have had more.
What crime did I commit?
You know what? If you would have walked up to my 5-year-old and taken her to show her something in a van and put her in a van... Would you like to see the puppies, how they hang out the window? What kind of frickin' stupid comment is that?
Wait a minute.
I mean,
obviously you're not a dog owner. Obviously you're not a dog. When dogs stick their faces out the window...
I know exactly what dogs do. What a kind of cockamamie story is that? And how in the world do you think it looks when you stick a sock in a child? Are you for real?
That's the thing that I want to say, Angela, is...
All right, I understand that, and the police questioned me at length about that. The kid was screaming.
Well, Dad,
how am I supposed to know that I'm
scared? You could be trying to kill her.
No, wait a second. Wait a minute.
You could be a maniac.
Wait a minute. She said she wanted to see the dogs. All right?
She wanted to see the dogs.
Doesn't want to see cute puppies. I'm 29. I love to see puppies.
Can I ask you a question, ma'am? What happened to the good old days when a kid could go for a ride with a stranger... Or you could give a child some candy.
Who lets their kids go for a ride with a stranger?
What's that?
Who let their children ever go for rides with strangers unless you grew up in a little tiny town?
There was a time, young lady, in this country where you could get into the car with a stranger and go off and have some lunch. Now, all of a sudden, I got the crap kicked out of me.
What year are you living in?
Exactly. This is 2002, man. We got armored personnel carriers taking our kids to school now. We got rapists, we got muggers, we got every kind of animal out there.
And you're throwing me in with that group.
Well, sir, you didn't hurt the child.
There's not a person that puts a 5-year-old child in a van with a sock in her mouth and expects her to not scream and go crazy. So how would she not think that you were trying to hurt her?
Because kids are afraid of dogs. I thought she was afraid of the way the dogs looked when they put their family. One of the things that looks weird when a sheepdog puts his face out the window on a freeway is the jowls flap up, and it'll scare the hell out of a kid.
Wait a minute. The kid is screaming because she sees the jowls on a sheepdog flapping up.
Well, let me tell you something. You guys can sit there and go, oh, my God. I got a boot to my groin, thank you very much. I'll be singing soprano. Because
do you not think that that is well-deserved? Do you not think that... Do you have any children?
Ma'am, I got a 9mm put in my ear because all I wanted to do was show some brat a dog.
Do you have children?
No, I do not.
Are you married?
No, I'm not. Look,
I can't imagine why.
I was driving a 2002... Well, you can get in your little cuties all you want, but I was driving a 2002 Windstar. I had 2 rare breed dogs that breeders normally charge $600 a pup. And I was willing to lay it on one of these kids going up and down a slide. And what do I get for my trouble? My teeth kicked in, my groin kicked in.
You know, every time you tell me what happened to you, it gets worse.
Yeah, exactly what happened.
I sustained injuries to my kidney, 2 broken or cracked ribs, what the doctor told me, and I got a strangulated testicle.
From getting kicked in the groin?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
And I lost the sight in my right eye temporarily.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I cannot imagine that you think this is logical. What did anything flash through your mind that this little girl is screaming? I've been watching all of these things on television about children being murdered and taken from their families.
No, according to you,
and you think that this is okay.
According to you, she hasn't seen the news. That's what you just said to me. So, which is it?
Well, according to you, she has seen the news.
That you have watched the news. You have seen this happen. And you think that this is okay? That a little girl is screaming, that you should not be scared to death and worried about what's going on, that you think this could be okay?
Sometimes the kids think the doggy's going to bite.
So that's why she's screaming so loud.
No,
You
she's
shove a sock into her
because
mouth.
you have, exactly. You have pulled her into the van,
No, you don't get it.
misled her.
No, you don't get it. You don't get it.
I'm really sorry.
All right,
I'm an educated person.
Angela, thank you.
I do get most things. You don't get it.
I got to take a break. 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. Mr. Robert Green, who was showing kids a puppy. He took a girl by the hand, put her in his van, drove up onto the freeway. She was screaming so loud he put a sock in her mouth and taped it shut, and then brought her back to the park saying all he wanted to do was show her a dog. And apparently 2 of the fathers set upon him and beat him up pretty good before the police showed up and arrested him. And he says that this is a new age of vigilante brutality, and he's the victim of it. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendrie Show.
Phil Hendrie Show, 1-800-449-8686.
I'm not a pervert, and I wasn't trying to get kids. I was wearing a 3-piece suit. I had on a beautiful fedora. I was wearing wingtips. I had a neatly folded handkerchief in my pocket. I was wearing white gloves, and I had covered the wingtips with spats. I was very well dressed. Anybody to think that I would mean harm to those children, all I wanted them to do was see those puppies and come riding with me for a few minutes. For a few minutes.
And in the process, put tape in a sock in a child's mouth. Here is Mike on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello.
Hey, yeah, this is Mike. I'd like to talk to Mr. Green. How old are you, Mr. Green?
I'm 38 years old.
You're 38 years old?
Yes, sir.
It has never been acceptable for kids to talk to strangers. I'm 34. It's never been acceptable for kids to talk to strangers, let alone get in a vehicle and ride away with them.
I asked the kid, do you want to see a... Oh, in other words, I can't ask a question.
Just like when a child is 5 years old, do you expect them to know right from wrong? No, they don't. They don't know right from wrong. I got 5 kids at home, and there comes a point in their life when they become teenagers, they know what it is. My son don't watch the news.
Where do those fathers get off? Where do those fathers get off beating me up? I thought the sirens were coming to help me. And
you got what you deserve. I would have done the same thing to you if you would have came up and done that to my kid.
You would have kicked me in the groin.
I would have kicked you there many times.
Oh, so you fight like a girl, huh?
It doesn't matter what you want to say.
Oh, well, whatever, man. I mean, the fact is you had this father's girl, and he was probably petrified. Where's his daughter?
I took her. How many... Do you guys listen?
No. It's imperative. You can't just take somebody's child. There's too many sickos in the world today.
Now, let me ask a question here.
Yeah, you might have been dressed up in a nice three-piece suit with gloves and everything on. That just might have been a cover-up. Trying to get some little child in your van.
No, sir. This is the
way
I
just got lucky. That child's probably lucky that you caught him.
Why did I turn around and come back?
You probably would have killed him.
Why did I turn around and come back? Why did I bring that child back if I meant her harm?
Because people saw you and got your tag number?
Nobody saw me. No one saw me. There were no adults around.
Yeah, you made sure of that. You were looking around to make sure there weren't any adults around.
You know something? Look, why do you all keep saying I took this child? She said, yes, I want to see the puppies. That's number one.
Have you ever heard that you cannot hold a child, you cannot hold anybody under the age of 18.
I took her back when she was screaming.
Let alone talk to a 5-year-old.
And the reason why she wasn't wearing underwear is because she had wet herself, and she was frightened of the dogs.
So now you're telling me you brought her back with no underwear on?
Oh, does that make me a pervert, too?
Yeah, definitely.
You guys really need to get a clue.
We got to get a clue. Jim, you are the guy that needs to get a clue. We'll be right back. Thank you for your call, Mike. 1-800-449-8686. Oh, so now, no underwear, sock in the mouth, drove her around in a van just so she could see the puppies with their faces stuck out the window, and she was screaming because the jowls were slapping their nose. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendrie Show.
The Phil Hendrie Show is back. 1-800-449-8686.
Why did this child have a haircut when you brought her back?
I took her over to my friend BT's house. You know, everything you said...
You took her over to your friend who?
BT Charles. He's a friend of mine.
You took her over to a friend's house to do what?
To get our picture taken together. Mr. Hendrie, I would...
See, you know, there's nothing you can say to me now, Mr. Green. You took a child from a playground because you say she consented to see some puppies you had in your van. You took off in the van so she could see what the dogs look like when they stick their heads out the window on the freeway. Now you've got her over to a friend's house. You've given her a haircut, taken off her underwear, and had your picture taken with her. And you say you didn't do anything to this child.
I did absolutely nothing to that child. What I did have happen to me, and what you and the other members of the media keep glossing over, is that I had the living crap. I had 7 shades of crap kicked out of me. I had 2 cracked ribs, strangulated testicle. I lost the sight in my right eye. I had a lacerated kidney along with a lacerated scalp.
Can you blame any father who finds his daughter in a van with you with her underwear off for pounding hell out of you?
Excuse me. Don't we have a constitution that says you're innocent until proven guilty?
Well, you know what? That's what the police have got to go by. That's when they Mirandize your ass. But a frightened, scared father...
Oh, so you endorse this. Let me be clear. A nationally syndicated talk show host endorses brutal vigilante violence. Thank you, Mr. Hendrie. I'm going to put that down in my diary today.
Oh, okay, fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I will alert the media on your behalf.
Good. Go right ahead. Fine.
So you're not afraid?
No, I'm not afraid. Here is Wendy on the Phil Hendrie Show. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yes. I was, going down the road, and I come on to this program, and I heard him speaking about the puppies car sick. I had to pull over because this man made me car sick. The way he was talking like he was the victim. He is not the victim. That little girl that he took from the park and went and taped a sock in her mouth, and now she came back with no panties and cut hair. If something is not done with this man,
Wait a minute.
He is going to become another Westerfield.
Wait a minute. I'm the guy. Who's Westerfield?
The guy down in San Diego.
Exactly.
Has he been convicted?
No, he hasn't.
So
now both of you are guilty
and I
of
pray
slander.
that you will be convicted. I hope the book is thrown at you. I hope whoever the lawyers are for this little girl can find so much stuff to put on you that you will never get out of prison. I mean,
Ma'am,
I live in Kansas, and I'm afraid of you. My children should be afraid of you.
I had a $5,000 gold cap on my front
I
tooth.
don't care what you wore. As far as what you wore, you sound like a pimp to me. Is that what you were going to do with this little girl? And you keep talking about what you were wearing, and in every other sentence you've been talking about your groin area.
I was kicked in the groin directly.
Citizen, and you do not deserve to be on the streets. You deserve to be locked behind bars.
Excuse me.
And I hope when you are locked behind bars that the prison that you are in, the men find out what you have done, and you will get more than a kick in your groin. You will get more than bruised ribs.
Ma'am, I was wearing a pork pie hat with a three-piece suit.
You sound like a pimp. I don't give a crap what you were wearing, and I can guarantee you will go to hell for doing this, because you did something more to that little girl.
It's nice to talk to God Almighty. It's great that you can
did
guarantee what happened.
something more to that little girl.
I did not, and the police have checked out everything, and I'm fine.
She is probably traumatized right now, and she probably cannot explain what happened to her. She's probably going to have years of counseling because of what you did to her.
Ma'am, I didn't do anything. And to
that
prove
is
that
a load
to you,
of crap. You did not take a 5-year-old, go get her flipping haircut, shove a sock down her throat, bring her back with that underwear, and then try to explain to everybody like we're idiots that you did nothing to that little girl.
Look it.
That is a lie.
Well, I find it hard to believe, too.
For the rest of your life.
All right, and so I deserve, and I'm going to tell you right now, what I was wearing was worth more than your car.
I don't care what you were wearing.
Three-piece suit.
I don't care what you were wearing.
Hat with a white
you could have went down to Goodwill and you could have got that outfit.
White gloves.
I donate stuff all the time to Goodwill that's, worth more than your flipping shoes. Who cares what you were wearing? Who cares how much it costs? The fact is, you are not the victim.
Here's why it's important.
Nobody cares what you were wearing. the little girl that you took and probably molested is the victim here. You are not the victim.
Mr. Hendrie, if this woman refers to that, I will sue her. I will sue her, and I'll sue you, Mr. Hendrie, if she's allowed to say these things one more time.
Go.
Look at Val. You're wearing a pork pie hat. You got on a $5,000 suit.
Which one of the fathers pulled over my head, pulled the jacket over my head, locking my arms, and then started kneeing me in the face. So I've got a busted nose on top of that.
Well, my husband would like to actually take you for a ride in our van and see how you return back to the park.
He wants to play with me?
Is that what you did with that little girl?
So your husband wants to play with me,
Is that what you did with that little girl? I thought you just took her for a ride.
What's your husband want to go with a ride for me for?
Well,
you sound a little nervous,
Mr.
Mr. Green.
You took that little girl for a ride, and now
Ma'am.
I said that my husband wants to take you, and you said that my husband wants to play with you. Is that what you did with that little girl, Mr. Green?
I'd say that again. I didn't understand you.
Yeah, we know what you do with that little girl, Mr. Green. You don't just go to the park and pick up little girls and take them for a ride.
And in touch with
if you want to take girls for a ride, then I suggest you go and find girls that are over the age of 18 and not go around like a predator searching for little girls that are in the park with
Well, you know an awful lot about it, don't you?
All right, look, I think the lady has made some fantastic points, and you must be a complete and utter imbecile not to understand how people...
You know, I've had enough of being called names.
Well, wait a minute, not to understand how people would react to a man in a pork pie hat with a gold-capped front tooth. Dude, you're in my neighborhood, man, and there's only one reason why you're there. The circus is in town.
He's a pimpin' predator is what he is.
A pimp? Pimps don't drive Windstar vans.
Predator.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. What?
Pimps don't drive Windstar vans. They drive Escalades.
1-800-449-8686. Let's go to Frank. Frank, go ahead. You're on the Phil Hendrie Show.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I tell you what, I raised 5 daughters and 3 sons.
Oh, here we go.
And I guarantee you one thing: if he so much as touch one of my babies.
What is this, Walter Brennan?
Huh?
Don't be a smartass, Mr. Green. Listen to this man.
He wouldn't need to worry about going anywhere because I'd blow his head off.
With what?
38, a 230. Well,
you better be clear because you got to know how to load them first.
Yeah, you son of a bitch. I was in the Marine Corps and I know how to load everything they ever had.
There you go, Frank.
Hey, listen. I had 4 inches of hair plugs lost because of that blow to my head.
Oh, you poor child. I wish they'd have done a good job on you, you son of a bitch.
What? Do you know how much hair plugs cost?
I don't give a damn.
That's
you queer bastard.
That's $4,000 in hair plugs.
Poor child. My ass bleeds for you when I have a hernia.
I got a gold
hey, you know what? I'm sorry that gentleman that kicked you in the groin and did everything didn't do a good job. I guarantee you, I'm 83 years old, and I do my best to kill you with my bare hands right now.
Why should we worry, Mr. Green, about your $4,000 gold-capped front tooth?
Well, I tell you what, he wouldn't have any of them. He wouldn't have any of them left when I got through with.
There isn't a Mexican on the.
Okay.
You're a Mexican?
No, sir, I am not.
Where were you hatched?
Sir, I was hatched in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Poor Pennsylvania.
Well, if it's any...
they ought to have shot you a long time ago. You know
something? You shoot guys for showing kids dogs. And you must really hate guys in vests, because that's all I did wrong.
I've raised more dogs than you've ever petted.
I didn't say... You raised or married? Now,
No, I'm not
really
like
funny.
you.
Yeah, that's funny.
You weren't born, you were snatched up.
Snatched up?
Yeah, snatched out of some whore's belly.
Well, that's what they teach in the Marine Corps. That means my son will not...
That's all right. We had the F-bomb dropped.
Did you hear the filthy mouth on that old coot?
Well, I don't blame the guy. Here is Mia on the Phil Hendrie Show. Mia?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I've been listening, and I am appalled. I'm trying to figure out where he's calling from because I would feel a whole lot safer if it was
Wait a minute. I didn't do anything wrong. The kid's fine. I didn't do nothing to her. I dropped her back off at the
She's
park.
not fine. If you took her away from her parents, she's not
Wait a
fine.
minute. If
what would be fine is if your kind would be strapped down and beaten to a bloody pulp, and I am so glad that they kicked your ass. And if it was me, I would still be kicking your ass. I have 2 children, and if you ever came near them, it would take Jesus himself to come and take me off.
Where do you live, Mr. Green?
I live in Little Rock.
I'm in Little Rock.
Holy Jesus.
Whereabouts?
I don't feel like telling you.
I bet you don't. I bet you don't.
I live on...
Just tell me what parks you cruise in so I can stay the hell away from you.
5th and Main.
I work down there,
All right.
Mr. Green.
Fine.
Fine is right. And my husband will probably have your nasty pedophile ass on his caseload.
Your husband's a cop?
He's better than that. He's better than
Superman? I don't know what's better than a cop. He's Superman.
Are you being a smartass now?
You would think. And I'm trying to
Let me
figure
ask you
out
a
why
question, Mia.
on earth.
In your
If you keep
neighborhood-
saying you did nothing, you took her. First
showed her
of all,
some
that's
puppies.
kidnapping. That's
And I
a
wrote
charge.
Daddy's
For
little girl on
that,
her tummy with a
if you
magic
didn't do
marker.
anything else, you kidnapped her.
I didn't do anything other than write Daddy's
Did you ask her
little girl.
mother could she go?
Her mother wasn't around.
Did you ask her father?
I only took her for 10 minutes.
I don't care if you took her for one.
Now, let me
It's
ask you,
kidnapping.
in your neighborhood, you must know this, a guy in a pork pie hat with a feather in it, that's class.
No,
And a
it's
gold
not
front
on my side of town.
Not on your
It's
side of town?
tacky as hell on my side of town. And the only place that I could possibly think of it would
I
ever
had
be
a-
appropriate is in Detroit.
Hello? Well, see, she hung up. But I had on a suit coat with padded shoulders.
Okay. Good for you, man. 1-800-449-8686. Phil Hendrie Show.
Here's Phil Hendrie. 1-800-449-8686.
Talking about me, I'm suffering.
Well, how did you suffer?
When I pulled up, first of all, why did I bring the child back to the park? That's number one. I brought her back because I wasn't intending on taking her anywhere. Number two, I pulled up in that van and leapt out of the van with my fingers in my ears because the screaming was absolutely unreal. And that van hadn't even stopped rolling. I jumped out, rolled to the ground, thinking that the police were going to help me, and instead those vigilantes are there and beat the hell out of me, even though that screaming almost made my ears bleed.
Wait a minute. You brought the kid back to the park because she was screaming so loud your ears were bleeding.
Yes. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
1-800-449-8686. This is Lynn on the Phil Hendrie Show. Lynn, go ahead.
Mr. Green, I have no words to describe my contempt for you. All I can say is you are a lucky man that it wasn't me, a 5'3", 125-pound woman that pulled you over, and you're lucky to get out of there with your life.
Do you know
this is the message I am sending to you from all the parents and all the decent people in this world. Your behavior is never going to be tolerated again. If this law and the Capitol Hill doesn't deal with you, we parents will, and that's exactly what happened to you on that highway.
I got this.
Man, and I do
knee
not
to my
care
groin.
what you were wearing. I couldn't care less, but describing a small child who has been abducted by some pervert and screaming to the top of her lungs.
What did I do?
I'm surprised you're alive today, and in my opinion, you shouldn't be. And a lady called in earlier who was way nicer than I can ever be to you.
Wait a minute.
And the only thing I disagree with her with is that you should be put in prison. Oh, God, no, I don't think so.
Wait a
I
second.
do not want my and everybody else's tax-paying money providing life and air and food for you to breathe.
I had
because you do not
$600
deserve it.
puppies.
You deserve exactly what you did to that child and worse.
I had
It will
$600
not be tolerated. We have had it with you people.
I had $600 puppies
I
that I
do
was
not
willing
give
to give
a
away.
damn about your $600, your suit, or whatever else. Maybe you ought to get out of that van if you need attention and prance around for somebody to see you besides a small child. And if you don't think taking a child from a park, from their parents, without their permission is kidnapping, you have got another thing coming. You are a sick man.
Amen, Lynn. Amen.
Look, I had just had
We
a
want
facial.
laws changed so we do not have to deal with the sights and sounds of you ever again, and we do not want to pay for your upkeep. We want you eliminated.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Henry?
Go ahead.
When you said amen, is that you're just encouraging her, right?
I
No,
agree
he's
with this
not
woman.
encouraging
Not
me.
encouraging her.
I had just had a
And
facial.
you go ahead and call your attorneys, and you call Capitol Hill if you want to, because you know what? I'll meet you there with more people than you could ever imagine.
All right, I have another question then. You sound a little shaky. What are you sitting on?
Ha ha. You want to make a joke out of this? She's angry.
I am furious. The rage that is going through me right now cannot even be described.
Who reimburses
There's nothing
me?
on the news anymore except stuff about people like you. These poor innocent children don't deserve to ever come in contact with anyone like you.
Who reimburses me for the
and
facial?
I'd like to know where you get off feeling like you're victimized when you take a child and you pick them up and take them from their place of play or their homes or anywhere else.
It was a puppy.
I do not care.
Ma'am, when I'm angry, I don't sound like I'm sitting on the back of a Harley Davidson. No, I'm saying...
Will you knock it off with your smart-ass remarks?
I'm saying that I had a $300 facial. Those guys beat me up and ruined the mask.
I'm sorry they didn't finish the job. I don't care about your face. I don't care about your teeth. I don't care about you. None of us do. Don't you get the point?
Well, I guess I better be going then.
Yeah, I guess you better be going.
For all we're here.
Come on, Phil. Tell her I don't exist.
Why did you do that?
Tell her that I'm a voice that you're doing.
Lynn?
Yes.
I'm actually doing his voice.
Yeah, but I'm the one that takes all the heat.
All right. He doesn't exist, Lynn. I'm doing his voice.
There are too many of them out there that aren't just voices.
This is true. This is very true.
And we have had it.
And go ahead and tell her how you're satirizing it and therefore bringing out the point that it should be prevented. Yeah, go ahead and tell her
It
that,
needs
Phil.
to be out there.
Yeah, it is. That's why we do it.
Yeah. Lynn, are you still mad?
I am furious.
Well, I don't
I
exist.
am furious with all the news that I have seen about children being picked up and abducted and abused.
Yes.
It is ridiculous. It's just crazy.
Well, it's something that has to stop.
Yeah, you tell her, Phil.
Shut up!
There need to be
Thank you.
laws to protect the victims
Right.
and not make them further victims of the crime. We
Word.
need to stop tolerating this craziness on our children.
Well,
It's
I
insane.
totally agree with you, ma'am. I totally agree with you.
Were you at the state prison visiting somebody?
All right, thank you very much, Lynn. I think you made some... What are you doing?
What do you mean, what am I doing? You're doing my voice.
All right, I'm doing his voice. I did some other work last week in addition to my radio show, and somebody said to me, somebody said you used to be a ventriloquist. I said, no. Well, where'd they hear that? That's the radio press. That's the proficient radio press. They say I used to be a ventriloquist. I don't do that. I just do characters. And that guy was one of them, and no kid was abducted, and...
What a pussy.
All right. But if you'd like to know more about our show, go to philhendrieshow.com, PHILHENDRIE show.com, and you can check out all the things that we do. All of our audio comedy, all of the stuff on our show is archived in our audio archives and also in our 30-day archives. So all of the shows going back 30 days you can listen to. And don't miss our souvenir shop. Ted's of Beverly Hills bowling shirt, Jay Santos Citizens Auxiliary Police T-shirt, and the best of the Phil Hendrie Show CDs.
And
South Dakota, right, Don? And continue here with Don Parsley. He's from Brewster, South Dakota, right, Don?
Yep.
Now, we've had a lot of tornadoes, some horrible weather in the United States, in the middle region of our country, in the southern region along the Atlantic coast. Tornado hit your town in Brewster, Iowa, right?
Yeah, it did. It destroyed everything. Everything that I've ever loved.
I understand that, sir. Can you tell me you lost your wife and daughter?
That's correct.
How did it happen?
Well, there had been a tornado warning, and we have a storm cellar, and I went to the cellar, and Twister had just come upon the house as fast as you can think, and my daughter tried to get in. I held her as long as I could.
And the wind swept her away?
And she was blown clear, yeah. My wife did not make it into the storm cellar. She, unfortunately, we lost her.
So both your wife and your daughter?
That's correct. And all I could think about was saving them. And the irony, I suppose, is that when my daughter...
What is your wife and daughter, what were their names, sir?
My daughter was Carol, and my wife's name is Sharon. And I had just a little piece of Sharon's dress I mean, Carol's dress, who's my daughter, she was blown clear, like I said.
You were holding on to your daughter before the tornado lifted her.
Right. And I don't have insurance because I've been on disability, and the house was lifted off its foundation. I was only able to get into the shelter, and then they found my wife. The house had dropped literally on the part of the lot. It had literally dropped on top of her. And
this is a terrible, terrible story, and I don't live in a area that one would call a tornado area. I live in California.
Right.
But I can imagine the devastation of something like that. And you say your entire home as well?
Right. My home is, forget it, it's gone. And I just want to tell everyone that twisters, these tornadoes, they are like the devil himself.
You mentioned that you're right now destitute. You don't have any money.
No, I don't. I've been on disability.
We would be happy. I would be happy, sir.
No.
No, seriously, to at least donate some money to you.
No, sir. Please don't. I would never ask people for money. I guess what I'm on your program to do is to warn people. Don't ever tell your loved ones that you love them every day, because you never know.
I hear you.
You never know when the last day is going to be.
Well, sir, I know that it takes FEMA a while to come in and try to get things sorted out. I'd be happy to start some kind of a fund.
No, sir, no.
Any kind of a...
No, I would never in a million years ask people for charity.
But it's not really charity.
Please, I don't want to offend you, but you're... I find it insulting, and I know you're not trying to insult me. I find it insulting. I don't want anybody's charity. All I did was watch my wife and child get up one morning, go into a day that I thought was going to be a day of sunshine, like all the days we've had, and I don't have them anymore. And I guess the only thing I wanted to say on your show is I sometimes ask myself why God would do this, but I guess more and more I'm not believing in God too much anymore.
You can't lose your faith, though.
No. My faith was ripped from my hands the way my daughter, Carol, was ripped from my hands, and when she was drowned.
Was your daughter drowned, sir? Did they find her body?
She was killed by a tornado, yeah. And they had found her body. We have a pond on my property.
How big is the lot? Now, you have a home.
That's correct.
And they found your daughter's body in a lake on your property?
Right. And
look, you called my show. Is there something we can do to get you temporary shelter to at least bury your wife and your family?
No, Karen,
your wife is Karen, right?
Yeah.
Who is your daughter?
My daughter is Sarah, and my wife is Karen. And I'm sorry, I know I said it was Carol. It's not. It's Karen and it's Sarah.
Well, can we please give you some money? I don't mean to insult you, all right? And I'm not trying to.
Well, I have to tell you, Mr. Henry, it is a little bit insulting. I mean, if I was to take money for my wife and daughter's funeral, that would be all. It would have to, and I would have to rebuild my house.
Well, is $1,000? We could start a fund of $1,000. If we $2,000 or $5,000.
That
$5,000.
That might. I guess you'd have to start if I was to take your money, and I don't really want to, but you'd have to start at $5,000 because if you really insist on giving me money, and I don't have any transportation. My car was destroyed, and it is a lease. I still have to make a payment.
How much is your monthly payment?
On my car, it's $1,500 a month.
What kind of a car is it?
I had an XK8.
A Jaguar?
Jaguar, yeah. I mean, so in other words, rednecks don't get hit by, can't have an expensive car either.
No, I'm just surprised. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give her a number out, 1-800-449-8686, 1-800-449-8686.
But Mr. Henry, I don't want any charity. I just called your program to tell people you may believe in God one day, but the next day God will take everything. He'll take everything from you. And
I understand.
I just wish they were with me, that's all.
I understand that, sir. We can raise money to get you some transportation.
transportation.
Well, we can get you a rental car.
He's like a Dodge Neon or something.
I don't know.
Well,
I mean, I don't want to insult you. I mean, okay.
Well, it seems to me that.
When are your wife and your daughter going to be buried?
The horrible thing about the Twister is that there are so many missing people in my wife's body.
Is your wife missing? Has she not been found?
That's correct.
Did you say that the house landed on her?
It did land on her, and that's, in a way, she's missing. That's what I'm saying. I mean, but please don't insult me with some donation drive. All I want are Sandra and Christy back in my life.
Sir, I'm not trying to insult you. You've lost your home. You've lost your car. What was your home's value, relative value? And you've lost your family, and there's no way you can put a value on that. How much was your home worth?
We appraised it at $950 last month.
$950,000?
Right.
How many acres have you got?
We've got 43 acres, and we farm...
So you've got a $950,000 home and 43 acres. You lost an XK8 Jaguar.
Right. But it's not about that.
You lost your wife and your daughter.
Right. But I don't want you to insult me by offering me money. The only money that I would take would be for the burial of my wife and my daughter. And to give me some transportation, replacement transportation.
Well, I offered to give you, we can give you $5,000 for their burial and for, you got a $1,500 a month car payment. I don't know.
Well, there you go. Then why would you insult me with an offer? Okay.
I don't mean to insult you.
No, I know that you don't mean to insult me, but I have a $1,500 a month car payment, and then you turn around and say, I can give you $5,000, which...
That wouldn't cover it.
No, sir. No, it wouldn't. So what I'm saying is this, and I don't know about anybody who's listening or whatever, but I called your show just to say you love your family, love your daughter, love your wife. Also, yes, okay, I don't have any money, and if people wanted to donate money, that's fine, but I can't. I see people get money on, like, the Jerry Lewis telethon and things like that. They raise a lot of money. And
well, sir, I don't know how much money I could raise for you, okay?
Well, but hear me out. If I have a $1,500 a month car payment and I've got a $950,000 house, how much do you think my house payment is? And just take a wild guess.
$7,000, $8,000 a month?
Or it was $850, $8,500.
You have an $8,500 a month house payment.
Right. So,
So whatever money we raise for you,
it's got to be a lot. And no amount of money is going to bring back my wife, Kim, or my wife is Carol, and my daughter, Kim. Nothing is going to bring them back. But what I can ask, if you want to give me money, I'd say that about $15,000 a month is what I'm going to need, and that's all I'm saying.
Well, what about FEMA?
Yeah, but they take time, see, and I need it now. I miss my wife and my daughter so much.
All right, our number is 1-800-449-8686. This is Don Parsley. He lost his home and his wife and his daughter in a twister that hit his property in southwestern Iowa. It's got a very... You've got a nice piece of property, Mr. Parsley?
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, what is that supposed to mean?
Well, no, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, but you've got a nice piece of property?
So, in other words, that means I don't get any money.
No, that doesn't mean you don't get any money.
Well, Mr. Henry, wealthy people suffer tragedy, too. I worked very hard, and I built a farm equipment business up from scratch. Now I don't have the two most important things in life.
I'm sorry, sir, okay? $15,000 a month is what you figure you need?
Yes. Yes.
If we could raise the money to keep you, for how long would you need this?
Probably for a couple of years. See, that's why I didn't even want to call, because I know you can't do it. So what's the point?
No, sir, I think we could. I mean, if we got enough of my listeners together.
All I really want is my wife and daughter back, and I know you can't do that.
No, sir, nothing can bring them back.
I just want you to know something, and I want your listeners to know something. I don't believe in God anymore.
If you have faith, you have to act. Doesn't the Bible say, act as if ye have faith and it will be given to you?
Yeah, that's easy for you to say. You probably still have your family.
Yes, I do.
I don't care anymore. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in anything.
But we can go a long way, sir, toward helping you replace the loss of your wife and daughter, you know, with
Well, with what? I mean, you said $5,000.
what if we could do $15,000 a month?
That'd be fine.
You could do that.
Yeah, if you can do it. I mean, but I doubt if you will. You say you will, but look at God. God took my wife and daughter away. Why should I believe anybody?
All right, hold the line, okay? Please?
No. I really got to get going.
No, please hold the line.
All right.
Well, you heard the man's story. His home, his property, his wife, his daughter, all dead from the terrible violence of the weather over the last few weeks, and over the last few days, actually. His home was hit by a twister in southwestern Iowa. His name is Don Parsley. He estimates that he needs $15,000 a month to keep his car payment, mortgage, everything. 1-800-449-8686. 1-800-449-8686. And probably the saddest thing that he could have said was he doesn't even believe in God anymore. 1-800-449-8686, The Phil Hendrie Show.
Phil Hendrie, 1-800-449-8686.
And I don't believe in God.
You know, you've said you don't believe in God a number of times, okay?
Mr. Hendrie, you try losing your wife and your daughter. You try losing your house. You try losing your home. And then tell me whether you believe in God.
I know that, okay? I understand that, and I know I don't pretend to know your experience. This is the Phil Hendrie Show. We're talking to Don. He lives in southwestern Iowa. He lost his home. He lost his wife and daughter to a tornado that hit there late yesterday afternoon. And you are destitute. Is that correct, sir?
I do not. I don't have any money, but that's not what I'm calling your program about. I'm calling your program to say that God, in my life, He has let me down, and I love my wife.
Sir, I understand.
If you say you and your listeners can raise $15,000, and all I would ask is if they could raise another $7,000 to cover some of the debts. My wife Angie had some debts. The last thing my daughter Katie said before the twister hit was, "Daddy, please hold on to me." And I couldn't. I couldn't.
And this, I understand, sir. Sir, I got some people hanging on the line. 1-800-449-8686. Frank, go ahead. You're on the Phil Hendrie Show.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
What I was saying is that this gentleman, with all respect, I find in his payments that he, on one hand, he didn't want to get insulted by your listeners trying to help him in some ways.
I don't.
Nobody can bring his daughter and his wife back. That is true. But we cannot blame God for every bad thing that happened every day in any street in the United States. It's destiny. You can call it any name you want to call it. But at the same time, he didn't want to get insulted because you offer him some help and monetary help, which is also necessary in any cases. On the other hand, he's telling that he's paying a mortgage of $8,500 a month.
That's a
property of 43 acres,
yeah,
and also a house that it costs almost $1 million. When you have that kind of properties and that kind of car, you must have some money in the bank also. And I'm not talking about the issue of the family lost, which again there's no money to replace it.
How do you replace your wife and daughter? And look, I don't want anybody's money. Okay?
Yes, sir, but on the other hand, you're asking for $15,000 a month.
If you have money in the bank...
The problem is we live in a very small town. The bank was completely destroyed. There is no money in the bank. It was destroyed. The Twister took down about 7 commercial buildings on the main street, and the money, it got ripped out. The money's got blown away.
But your money is insured by the federal government, sir.
Well, that's what they say, but...
Well, actually, that's what everybody knows.
I can't go to the bank and get the money out if there's no bank.
Oh, yes, you can, sir. And believe me, I
can't because my money was in cash. It was in a safety deposit box.
Wait a minute. All of your savings?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my God.
And
I'm not even asking for money. I'm not asking anything.
No, I'm not saying that, sir, but at the same time, what I'm saying is that if this radio station listeners are willing to help you on this devastating blow, your statements contradict each other. I'm sorry.
No, my home fell on top of my wife. I walked up
How do you know that? How do you know that when you say that her body has not been found?
No, sir.
Now, you tell me,
in my grief, my wife has not been found. In my grief.
No, but physically, your wife's body's been found.
Yes.
Under the house?
Yes, sir.
But because you did say that she was missing.
I think both of you gentlemen have an awful lot of gall to ask questions of a man who is bereaved. I think that...
We don't mean to insult you.
Well, you've been saying that, but that's all you're doing.
No, sir, we're just trying to...
My wife is stuck underneath the house. Yes, you can say that, yes, she is missing.
How can you expect somebody, sir, to give you a group of people to give you $15,000 a month if they don't really believe what you're saying? And in order for people to believe...
You don't have to give me any money. All right, you can just let my...
Oh, we don't. But the fact is that we're listening to this radio station which got
on the
good
one
programming.
Hand, right. You said on the one hand that she was missing. On the other hand, she's under the house. You said her legs were sticking out at one point. Didn't you say you walked up and took your wife's shoes off?
Yes, I did.
Then how can she be missing?
I think until either one of you gentlemen have lost your wife and your family, for you to ask me questions like I'm a criminal, I think it's very, very wrong. And I don't want your $15,000 a month. You said that you could get it for me, so forget it.
All right, 1-800, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Most of her is missing, but they found her feet, and that's all I'm trying to say.
All right, hold on. 1-800-449-8686. This man's obviously crazy with grief. His name is Don. He lost his wife and daughter in a tornado in southwest Iowa. Phil Hendrie Show.
The Phil Hendrie Show is back. 1-800-449-8686.
I'm back with Don Parsley, his wife. Your wife's name is Carol?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and your daughter's name is Sarah?
Yes, sir.
And they were both killed by a tornado, this weather event, and these terrible tornadoes have been going on. But you live in southwest Iowa?
Yes, sir.
All right, most of the weather that I've been reading about has been in...
All right, well, you know something? I think I've been called a liar on your program.
No, I'm not calling you a liar, sir. I'm just saying that most of the weather that I've been reading about has been...
Well, they had tornadoes in Iowa, too, okay?
Okay, I mean, I'm not calling you a liar.
Well, everything that you were saying, everything that the people who were calling in...
We're not calling you a liar. We're asking you questions, okay?
My home was destroyed and my wife was killed by a tornado. And I tried to hold on to him as long as I could.
Now, when you say him, who do you mean?
My daughter. I tried to hold on to her as long as I could, and all that I have left is... See, one of the things that's going on with me that you probably don't understand is I'm in shock. I'm still in shock. And all I'm saying is $15,000 a month. Is that going to kill anybody?
So you do want the money?
No, you're telling me that you want to give me money. So I'm saying if you want to give me money, then $15,000 a month is what the money should be. Otherwise, I don't care if you don't give me any money. I'll kill myself. I don't care.
So if you don't get $15,000 a month, you'll kill yourself?
I don't care. I don't care if I get the money. I just as soon go kill myself right now. If you don't give me $15,000 a month, then I'm going to do it. I'll kill myself.
See, that sounds to me like you're emotionally blackmailing.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I don't believe in God, and I'd rather die.
But if we could get you $15,000 a month,
if you could get me $15,000 a month, then I would say that I can get through or something. I don't know. What do you want me to say?
Here is Eddie. Go ahead. You're on the Phil Hendrie Show.
Yeah, I got a question real quick. Have you gone down to meet with FEMA or anybody to get help
those
or
guys,
anything?
they take forever.
Oh, I know.
You know? But, I mean, I will sooner or later, but right now I got stuff I have to do.
Yeah, when did this exactly happen? Was it just a couple of days ago?
It was actually last night. About 6.
Last night.
Last night. Yeah.
Actually, I lived in Oklahoma when
they have tornadoes there.
Oh yeah.
See?
Oh yeah.
See, Mr. Hendrie?
What do you mean, see, Mr. Hendrie?
This guy's been through one.
I don't doubt that tornadoes exist. I'm not saying they don't exist.
Well, then what are you saying?
I'm just saying I'm having a hard time understanding. First, one of the things you said was that you pulled him back.
I was talking about my daughter.
Why'd you say him?
Because I made a mistake. I want to just give an idea of something. Listen to this. I'm going to step outside for a minute. Okay? And I want you to hear something.
All right, we're listening.
Let me just go on the door. Okay. Listen to this. You know what that is?
A gunshot?
Yeah.
So what's that mean?
Whatever you want it to be. Look, are you guys going to give me the $17,000 or not? Eddie? Are you giving me the $17,000 or not?
Actually, I'm short the cash myself.
Yeah. Everybody,
it takes a while
tough.
when you.
Time's tough, huh?
Yeah, when you go through a loss, it takes a while.
Yeah, if you got to go through FEMA, man.
I don't even know what that means.
Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Oh, man, nice way to pull it off the top of your head like that.
That's what it means. Here is Ken on the Phil Hendrie Show. Ken, go ahead.
Hey, Parsley, if I could look you straight in the eye, I'd call you a liar because you don't even know your wife's name.
My wife just died, and you call me a liar.
Yes, sir. Who in the right mind would lease you a Jaguar without requiring you to have insurance on it, first off?
Who said I didn't have insurance on it? Who said I didn't have insurance on it?
You did.
I said I don't have no insurance on my house.
You said you didn't have insurance on your car, your transportation was lost. Now, second thing, your wife is missing, but she's under the house. Nobody in their right mind who has run any kind of a business would take money, obviously millions, and put in a safety deposit box without having that money work for them. And to say that it's blown away.
Just because I don't do things your way.
Now, your whole point for calling this show, I'm telling you right now, is to discredit God. Now, I don't
believe in God anymore. I don't believe in God anymore.
You never did believe in Him.
He took my wife and my...
No, he didn't, sir. I want to tell you something.
Oh, he didn't?
No, you get the book of Job. Job lost his children. Was it God who, by a storm no less?
Yeah, he did. God killed him.
God did not kill him.
The whole thing, first of all, the reason why I had my money in cash is I was trying to hide my assets from the government so I wouldn't have to pay taxes.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
And I admit that that's wrong.
No, but wait a minute. This man made a really good point. You can't lease a car without proof of insurance.
I had insurance.
And then what?
He said he didn't.
No, I took it off after I got the car.
No, you can't do that because the leasing company will know if the insurance has lapsed. It has lapsed.
Both of you guys, if you talk about Job, was his wife's leg sticking out from under a house? Did you?
No, I don't believe yours was either. You're calling up, like Phil said, you're trying to emotionally blackmail these people.
No.
5,000 won't do. You got to have 15 now. 17,000?
I said I need 7. If he said 15, what's another 2,000? All right, make it 17,000.
You're out of your mind. Phil, if you want to keep credibility in your show, you ought to hang up on this guy.
Wait a second, sir. My wife was found in the lake, and if you'll ever find your wife, I hope she's not dead.
Your wife was found in the lake?
I mean, my daughter was found in the lake.
See, you keep changing your story.
I didn't.
You did. No, you said that your daughter was drowned, and your daughter was drowned after she was ripped from your hands by the wind.
Yes, she was thrown into the lake. Oh, now you're laughing at a man losing his family.
I'm laughing at you because
sir, I hope God forgives you. I hope God forgives you.
God is God.
Wait a minute, I thought you didn't believe in God.
I believe in him. I know him. You don't.
My wife's feet were the only thing we found sticking out from under the house, and the toes were curled up, and she was as dead.
You've changed your story so many times in the few minutes I've listened to you. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind you are a liar, sir. And we know who the father of lies is.
Sir, you can call me a liar, but I'm here without my wife, without my sons, without my daughter.
People's all you're trying to do.
Wait a minute. Your sons?
I said my daughter.
No, you said your wife and your sons.
My daughter's daughter.
Daughters.
My daughter, I said.
Sir,
daughter, sir.
Parsley, can I give you a piece of advice? The next time you try this, write yourself out a script and memorize it.
Okay, all of you people, I hope that you
write yourself a script.
You're going to have to face God, not me.
You're
going to have to face God, not me.
But the God, this is the God.
I will face him.
Mr. Parsley, you don't believe in God.
I don't believe in God, but I don't believe in God right now, but mostly I do.
All right, thanks for your call. Thanks very much. Are you listening to what you're saying? You're asking for money.
I didn't ask for one dime. My sons are at their grandmother's house, so I wasn't wrong for saying I have sons, because I do have sons. And
you said you lost your whole family.
I lost the family that was at my house at that time.
But you still have two sons.
Yes, I never said that I didn't. I lost my whole family.
Yes, you did. You said you lost your family.
In the tornado, that part of my family I did lose.
Shirley, go ahead. You're on the Phil Hendrie Show. Shirley?
Oh, hi.
Yes, we are no closer, Mr. Parsley, to getting you the money that you need.
I don't care if you get me any money. I don't give a damn.
Well, first of all, I don't think Mr. Parsley should get a cent. I agree with the last caller.
You're calling me a liar, too?
Well, I'm just calling you what you are. I'm sorry. I have to say that anybody who's been through any kind of tragedy can at least remember what the name of their wife and their daughter is.
I have said a million times what my wife and daughter's name is.
What is the name of your wife and your daughter?
What's the name of your wife and daughter?
My wife's name is Sarah. My daughter's name is Carol. I love them both.
Okay,
now, wait a minute.
So far, now you said your wife's name is Sarah and your daughter's name is Carol.
Yes, ma'am.
Before it was your wife's name was Carol, your daughter's name was Sarah. Then you changed it to Karen.
Have you been through?
And Kim.
Have you been?
Excuse me, I've been through a lot of things, sir.
Okay, then you would
and
understand.
I can remember my children's name and everybody else's name in my family.
You would understand the tragedy.
And then don't even try to interrupt, please. Then you called them Katie. You've called your daughter Sarah, Kim, and Katie. You've called your wife Carol. You've called her Karen.
I think you are lying.
And
you're doing it on
you've done
purpose.
all this stuff. And as far as your wife being under the house and the toes curling up, I think you've watched The Wizard of Oz one too many times.
That's where I saw that.
And you are perpetrating a crime. You are perpetrating a crime.
Ma'am, I happen to be dyslexic, all right? Do
you
understand what that means?
Dyslexic doesn't change your daughters into sons and your sons into daughters and everything else. And it doesn't change their names.
You know, Shirley, I want to thank you. This is Phil Hendrie. When you said the toes curled up, I was trying to rack my brain where I'd seen that.
Yeah.
That's out of The Wizard of Oz.
You are both liars. Neither one of you have ever lost your family. I did not. Now you're accusing me of what?
I'm accusing you of getting that toes curled up with the legs under the house from The Wizard of Oz.
Yes, he is.
You know something? I'm a gentleman, so I'm not going to say what I think of the lady. You, Mr. Hendrie, you can go straight down to the underworld.
What does that mean? I can go to hell?
If you don't believe in God, you don't believe in the underworld either. I'm sorry, but, you know, nobody who's listening to this program right now should put 1 cent toward any fund for this man. Because
exactly.
He's making...
Let me ask you a question. You said you took the shoes off of your wife. What were they?
She was wearing red.
Red slippers?
Yes, sir. Oh.
I'm sorry.
So now I'm a liar.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you're a liar, and the red rubies
were they red? Crime.
And you're perpetrating a crime. It's a scam. Okay, do you understand?
Why? What did I do wrong?
You said red ruby slippers, Jack. That's out of The Wizard of Oz.
He's making this whole thing
up. All right.
up.
Other than that, am I?
By the way, do you have a dog?
I did.
Was its name Toto?
Yeah. Wait a second. Are you saying
1-800-449-8... I want to apologize to my listening audience for the emotional rape that you've just been through. 1-800-449-8686, Phil Hendrie Show.